welcome. Today we are going to be talking about parallel universe theory, the theory of the multiverse, multiple universes, the existence of sister universes. Are we alone in this cosmos, in this universe? Is our universe the only universe that exists, or are there multiple different realities that exist? This is a theory that has been popular in science fiction for quite some time, and I am personally a fan of this theory. So I thought it would be very interesting to dive deeper into it and explore the origin of this theory and all of the different variations of it. You see, there's a lot of different theories as to whether it exists, and if it does, in what state does it exist in? What kind of parallel universes are we talking about here? And that's what we will explore today. You see, the universe we live in may not be the only one out there. In fact, our universe could be just one of an infinite number of universes making up a multiverse. Though the concept may seem strange, may stretch science, the laws of science, there is actually good physics behind it. And there's not just one way to get a multiverse. Numerous physics theories independently point to such a conclusion. In fact, some experts think the existence of hidden universes is actually more likely than not. That being said, there are 5 theories that are popular. 5 theories that are very, very popular that we're going to talk about. And we will dissect each individual one and whether or not it is the most possible or the most interesting. So, the first theory is infinite universe theory. You see, scientists can't be sure what the shape of space-time is, but most likely it's flat, as opposed to spherical or even donut-shaped, and it stretches out infinitely. But if space-time goes on forever, then it must start repeating at some point, because there are a finite number of ways particles can be arranged in space and time. So if you look far enough, you would encounter another version of you. In fact, you would encounter infinite versions of yourself. Some of these twins will be doing exactly what you're doing right now, meaning there is a alternate version of voice of persona, aka me, aka Randy, recording a video right now in another universe. In fact, there is probably a version of me whose channel is far more successful than mine. You know, I'm talking about 100,000 subscribers. But I ain't throwing shade at YouTube. That's not why I'm here. That's not why we're here today. We are just trying to get to the nitty-gritty of parallel universes, so I will not talk much more about that. I digress. Anyway, some of these twins will be doing exactly what you're doing, and others will be doing different things, such as wearing a different sweater in the morning. And still, some may have made vastly different career and life choices. Because the observable universe extends only as far as light has had a chance to get in the 13.7 billion years since the Big Bang, that would be 13 kilometers approximately, the space-time beyond that distance can be considered to be its own separate universe. In this way, a multitude of universes exist next to each other in a giant patchwork quilt of universes. That's infinite universe theory. The next theory is bubble universes. In addition to the multiple universes created by infinitely extending space-time, other universes could arise from a theory called internal inflation. Inflation is the notion that the universe expanded rapidly after the Big Bang, in effect inflating like a balloon. Eternal inflation, first proposed by Tufts University cosmologist Alexander Vilenkin, suggests that some pockets of space stop inflating while other regions continue to inflate, thus giving rise to many isolated bubble universes. Thus, our own universe, where inflation has ended, allowing stars and galaxies to form, is but a small bubble in a vast sea of space, some of which is still inflating, that contains many other bubbles like ours. And in some of these bubble universes, the laws of physics and fundamental constants might be different than in ours, making some universes strange places indeed. The next theory is parallel universes. And I guess going back to the way I started this video, I was talking about it as if parallel universes encompassed all of these. But they don't. So there is a difference. There is a distinction that should be made there. But this is probably the most popular one that we're all familiar with, right? So parallel universe theory is another idea that arises from string theory. And it's this notion of brane worlds. B-R-A-N-E worlds. Parallel universes that hover just out of reach of our own, proposed by Princeton University's Paul Steinhardt and Neil Turok of the Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics in Ontario, Canada. That's where I'm from, actually. The idea comes from the possibility of many more dimensions to our world than the three of space, and one of time that we know. In addition to our own three-dimensional brane of space, other three-dimensional branes may float in a higher dimensional space. Columbia University physicist Brian Greene describes the idea as the notion that our universe is one of potentially numerous slabs floating in a higher dimensional space, much like a slice of bread within a grander cosmic loaf. In his book, The Hidden Reality. Vintage Books, 2011. A further wrinkle on this theory suggests that these brane universes aren't always parallel and out of reach. Sometimes they might actually slam into each other, causing repeated Big Bangs that reset the universes over and over again. And that's actually backing off of that. That is actually another theory for how the universe began, our universe. You know how there is this theory that there was a Big Bang, and that's how life began. An explanation for that is two parent universes collided and gave birth to our universe. That is one potential explanation to the beginning of the universe. Oftentimes you will hear that, well, before the Big Bang there was nothing, and then there was something. And that is something that is very difficult for people to understand. So, an explanation was created that does make sense and has basis in terms of string theory. Then we have daughter universes. The theory of quantum mechanics, which reigns over the tiny world of subatomic particles, suggests another way multiple universes might arise. Quantum mechanics describes the world in terms of probabilities rather than definite outcomes. And the mathematics of this theory might suggest that all possible outcomes of a situation do occur in their own separate universes. For example, if you reach a crossroads where you can go left or right, the present universe gives rise to two daughter universes, one in which you go right and one in which you go left. And in each universe, there's a copy of you, witnessing one or the other outcome, thinking incorrectly that your reality is the only reality. Green wrote in The Hidden Reality. And of course, this is another option or another theory as to the explanation for alternate universes, but that does pose its own set of challenges and questions. For example, if you are standing at a crossroads and you can go either right or left, and your actions impact the cosmos in such a grand scale that it causes the universes to split apart and give birth to daughter universes, then that would have to apply for everyone in this world, right? So we're talking about billions of people all making decisions with various alternate outcomes that they could possibly take, giving birth to how many, billions and billions and billions of daughter universes. That seems mathematically difficult to grasp, so my opinion in relation to that is one of great skepticism. Nonetheless, the fifth theory is mathematical universes. Scientists have debated whether mathematics is simply a useful tool for describing the universe, or whether math itself is the fundamental reality, and our observations of the universe are just imperfect perceptions of its true mathematical nature. If the latter is the case, then perhaps the particular mathematical structure that makes up our universe isn't the only option, and in fact all possible mathematical structures exist as their own separate universes. A mathematical structure is something that you can describe in a way that's completely independent of human baggage, said Max Tegmark of MIT, who proposed this brain-twisted idea. I really believe there is this universe out there that can exist independently of me, that would continue to exist even if there were no humans. So, that is all 5 theories. But of course, we can also make arguments against parallel universes. There is skepticism, and many people have their doubts. And of course, any good scientific theory should be worked constantly to be proven wrong. As a scientist, that is what you should do. If you have a hypothesis, you should work to disprove that hypothesis. That is the scientific method in a nutshell. Not work to prove it right, because you then approach it with a set of biases. And you want to be proven correct, so you will not approach it scientifically. And so you should work to prove it wrong. And so here we go. That's what we're going to do. Not everyone agrees with the parallel universe theory, however. A 2015 article on Medium by astrophysicist Ethan Segal agreed that space-time could go on forever in theory, but said that there are some limitations with that idea. The key problem is the universe is just under 14 billion years old, so our universe's age itself is obviously not infinite, but a finite amount. This would, simply put, limit the number of possibilities for particles to rearrange themselves, and sadly make it less possible that your alternate self did get on that plane, after all, to see China. Also, the expansion at the beginning of the universe took place exponentially because there was so much energy inherent to space itself. But over time, that inflation obviously slowed. Those particles of matter created at the Big Bang are not continuing to expand. Among his conclusions, that means the multiverses would have different rates of inflation and different times, longer or shorter, for inflation. This decreases the possibilities of universes similar to our own. Even setting aside issues that there may be an infinite number of possible values for fundamental constants, particles interactions, and even setting aside interpretation issues, such as whether the many worlds interpretation actually describes our physical reality. The fact of the matter is, there is a number of possible outcomes that rise quickly, so much faster than merely exponentially, that unless inflation has been occurring for a truly infinite amount of time, there are no parallel universes identical to this one. But rather than seeing this lack of other universes as a limitation, Siegel instead takes the philosophy that it shows how important it is to celebrate being unique. He advises to make the choices that work for you, which leave you with no regrets. That's because there are no other realities where the choices of your dream self play out. You, therefore, are the only person that can make those choices happen. Of course, that is one possible perspective to take, and that may very well be the case. We very well might be the only version of our universe. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other universes out there that are completely unique with their own set of laws of physics. It is definitely interesting to think about. What do you guys think? I want to hear your opinions. Do you think that there are alternate universes out there? Do you think that we're the only universe? Why or why not? Again, to sum up, we have infinite universes, bubble universes, daughter universes, mathematical universes, and parallel universes. So, there are definitely scientific possibilities for it, and there is some science behind it, although there is definitely a topic of discussion amongst scientists and a bit of debate amongst scientists in regards to whether or not it is scientifically feasible. So, the jury is still out, and we do not have definitive proof. But, just like many things, we can prove it if we try. Or we can prove that it doesn't exist if we try, is what I'm saying. So, with that being said, let me know what you guys think in regards to whether parallel universes exist or not. And I hope you have a good night, and I hope you are enjoying these informative videos. I am going to keep doing these as they are a new series, and I enjoy making them, and I think it's fun to learn new things. And I really want to push that on my channel to help you guys learn, and also to learn for myself too. So, thanks for listening, and have a good night. Talk to you soon.